Okay, so we're continuing but we're watching the earlier videos.
Okay, this is probably gonna be tough, so wish me luck.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Good luck.
Why is the son nearly the same size as the mom?
Rockstar. We had over 12,000 applicants, but you are the only ones that made it to the
That's
finals.
a
However, only
nearly.
one of you will be
That's
chosen for
more
a secret
than.
mission.
Wait, only one? Don't they usually hire like 10 astronauts a year?
Not for this mission, apparently. Hey, I'm Derek, by the way.
Derek Muller? Aren't you that science and education YouTuber guy? Veritasium.
Yep, that's me.
Wow, cool. Hopefully that
It's that
experience comes in handy today, huh?
What's your name?
0.001% of the
my name's-
population.
Okay, here it says one of our finalists is called.
But
Derek,
that's a bit
and the other
more
one
because
is-
12,000,
Yep, there's no name.
not
What the heck?
8,000.
That's weird. Sir, my name's...
I'll just call you Dude.
Hmm.
Okay, so Derek, what's your experience?
I have a PhD in physics education research.
Yeah, what else?
He has a YouTube. Oh, electricity left. Dang it. Well, I'm not gonna leave you with nothing. I hope I gave you something. We're gonna react if everything went perfect for Poland. Because, yeah, there's no electricity and these are one of my downloads.
Is an incredible understatement. While they had a pretty great Middle Ages,
Yes.
growing into the powerful Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth,
Both nations.
from here, it's all downhill.
Yeah.
Competition with
They
Russia,
keep
the
on getting
Ottomans, and
partitioned.
Sweden starts to lose them international relevance. Internal weakness then starts to eat away further at Polish power. Eventually, Poland is reduced to little more than a Russian puppet.
And then
But
it got
things can
partitioned
get even worse.
because
In a series of
they wanted-
partitions, the Polish state would vanish from the map for the first time. It would then get a short revival
Napoleon
thanks to
would revive
Napoleon,
him.
only to vanish again a couple of years later.
his
The end of World War I
Yes.
would again offer the chance for a revived
Yay!
Polish state, only to, once
Get
again,
partitioned.
be destroyed and occupied by
And then
foreign
it became
powers for
communist.
another 5 years. After this, Poland was finally revived permanently. But, once again, they were now a puppet to Moscow.
Yes.
Only in 1991,
Was
a
true
short
independence.
33 years ago, this Poland finally, truly become independent again. So in this video, we are going to reverse the odds for Poland, specifically modern Poland. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth will get their own episode one day.
Oh,
In
yay.
this video, we will try to create the best case scenario for Poland, specifically by following an idealized version of the plans of Polish Marshal and dictator Pilsudski, imagining an alternate world where his efforts were more successful. Our scenario starts in World War I, towards the end in 1980.
Yeah,
The
because
Russians have already
the
collapsed,
Poland
and the
became
Germans
a
have turned
country
Poland
for just
into
a
their
year.
puppet state. But as the
Before
war
it fell
continues,
until it
the
became
Central
full
Powers
independence.
began to collapse from the exhaustion of the war. As the Germans themselves collapsed, Eastern Europe became a free-for-all. Marshal Pilsudski would consolidate control over Poland, and it was now up to him to steer Polish independence. A rebellion would put Posen under Polish control, while the collapse of Austria-Hungary allows for even further expansion. The fragile situation was perfect for Poland to
Okay.
establish their dominance in Eastern Europe. But as Eastern
Interesting.
Europe was in chaos, the Entente delegates had arrived in Paris to discuss the future of Europe. We will discuss the conclusion of this conference later, but for now, with the lack of German forces, the Bolsheviks are trying to reassert
You
control over Eastern
betrayer.
Europe.
You betrayed
In our own
Germany. You made a
timeline, the
pact
Bolsheviks
that
would
you
push
won't
as far
attack each
west as
other.
Warsaw, threatening a terrifyingly large communist state, with Poland reintegrated into the latest version of the Russian Empire. Luckily for our timeline, the Poles won, and the Soviets were thrown back. Still, Pilsudski had imagined an even better scenario. Now, while he was a fervent anti-communist, the destruction of the Soviet Union and the victory
Was a
of the
bit
White
too
armies over the
unlikely.
Red ones wasn't actually a real goal for him. For Poland, does it really matter if they are oppressed by a white or a red Tsar sitting in Moscow?
Same thing.
Neither should be allowed. For Pilsudski, the Russian Civil War provided a completely different opportunity. He imagined Poland like Prometheus, the titan of Greek mythology that gave fire to the humans. Poland would be the one to give the nations of Eastern Europe independence from Moscow. This would weaken Russia to such an extent that they couldn't pose an as direct threat to these new independent states.
Hey, White, aren't
So,
you fighting
let
a
us
civil war?
rewind
So are you
just a
attacking
little bit
Ukraine?
more. For
You're gonna
starters,
take a
let
grain
us
again in
imagine
more than
that the
100
Bolsheviks
years.
struggle a bit more in their civil war, struggling harder with reasserting control. Poland starts to work with other nationalist movements, fighting to liberate Eastern Europe and the Caucasus from the Russians. Now obviously, none of this will work just from giving Poland more luck. We need something more concrete. In our timeline, the Polish
Friends
position
helps?
was quite divided. While they talked a
that's
big game
unlikely.
about independence for Eastern Europe, in practice, they had conquered parts of Belarus, Lithuania, and Ukraine. Especially relations between Ukraine and Poland were difficult, over who should get to control Eastern Galicia.
Split
seemed
it!
that the Poles couldn't make up their mind. Do they want to dominate their neighbors, or do they want to work with them? I think there is
Work.
one major change we can make to help the Poles, both militarily and diplomatically, in one fell swoop. Somewhere in 1919, the Entente realized that their support for the White Armies would never stop the Bolsheviks. Pilsudski himself makes an appearance in Versailles with a proposal. Sure, the rise of the Bolsheviks in Russia may be unstoppable, but if the Entente support the Polish plot, then a significant chunk of Eastern Europe can be kept out of their grasp.
Ooh.
Any liberated territory will then be rearranged at a Congress including the Entente members, hopefully preventing the new states from fighting each other over it. The Entente agree, and their
Interesting.
aid and assistance in keeping the different nationalities fighting together is the crucial piece we needed to have Poland achieve a more permanent victory, as the Bolsheviks, reluctantly, accept the loss of the West. So let's now reshape Eastern Europe. Germany, for the most part, gets the same deal as elsewhere, but we can improve the Polish peace deal just slightly for Poland. Obviously, Poland gets Posen and the Polish corridor, including Danzig. They also get just a little bit more of the rich and industrious Silesia. Finally,
I
these
don't
regions
see
in
that, but
Eastern
okay.
Prussia held significant Polish populations
Anyways,
and will also be added.
Shout out to possible history for this video.
Poland. Going east then, the Ukrainian-Polish border is rearranged, sorting out the worst of their issues. In the Baltics, all three are re-established as independent states, same with Finland. Belarus would be reduced in size and lose some more territories to Poland. Finally, down south, the Caucasus states receive independence. By 1922, these, roughly, would be the new borders of Eastern Europe. With this new situation, Pilsudski's second plan can come into effect. Eastern Europe is independent, and the Bolsheviks, for now, are focusing on fixing Russia itself. Poland can now start working on the Intermarium project. Intermarium
that?
stands for Between the Seas, and refers to an imagined partnership of Eastern European states, though its exact borders are a bit of an open question. But now, the Intermarium becomes the focus of Polish foreign policy, though we do need to change its setup. The original design was essentially just Polish dominion over Eastern Europe, something which would never be sustainable. Ukraine alone has more people than Poland. Instead, the Intermarium needs to be a more voluntary, economic,
Wait,
and
isn't
military
Ukraine
alliance,
in a war?
focusing
No,
on common
no,
defense
no,
against the
by then,
Soviets.
but
Speaking
in
of,
this timeline,
it's time
no.
to take a look at Russia. It is difficult to overstate just how devastating these losses would be for their future development. It doesn't really matter who takes over the Soviet Union, they would really struggle in this timeline. Just losing Ukraine alone has stripped 20% from our timeline's Soviet population,
What?
which includes some very significant agricultural and resource-rich regions.
Wow, Ukraine.
Combine that with the loss of the Black Sea ports and the loss of the extremely oil-rich Azerbaijan, and oh my, we have a crippled Soviet Union. If we want to, we can go even further. Install some unassuming agrarian leader, uninterested in industrialization, or some incompetent fool. Or maybe some ideologue who will declare war on everyone to spread communism and then lose. But none of this is really necessary. Stalin is still the most likely candidate to take over the Union, but even his ruthless tactics wouldn't be able to achieve the breakneck modernization of our own
What can you
timeline.
do against half
Obviously,
of a continent?
the Soviet Union is always a looming threat for Eastern Europe, but in the short term, Poland and the boys have enough advantages to hold them off.
Them boys.
Now, assuming the Intermarium is indeed a federation of equals, a safety net for Eastern Europe, and not just Polish domination in disguise, it can be absolutely amazing for Poland. Poland is by far the most industrialized economy in Eastern
Poland
Europe,
might be the
mostly
leader of
due
the
to their
alliance.
western, former German territories. This means that, if things goes well,
Like-
industrial resources from
like, you
Eastern
might
Europe
be the
can fuel Polish factories.
country
A
that
mutually
helps them
beneficial
more the
partnership,
most
boosting
in
all of
wars,
their
possibly,
economies,
because
but
Poland will
mainly
most likely be the
improving Poland's
strongest or one
industrial
of the
base.
strongest.
Now free to choose their own destiny, Eastern Europe slowly starts living up to the potential they've always had. Even better, if the Intermarium project is indeed successful, there is some real potential that other nations can express interest in joining as
Romania
well.
and Czechoslovakia?
For example, Czechoslovakia and Romania may be interested, or perhaps even Finland. Especially as Hungary and Germany start remilitarizing, the expansion of the alliance becomes more likely.
What
And
if
this rise of
Germany,
Germany is our
Russia,
final
and
challenge to
Germany
face
want-
if we really want to secure
Oh,
Poland.
no.
Because even our stronger Intermarium alliance will struggle with a resurgent Germany. Even if Poland and co. manage to somewhat hold off initial German
Soviet
invasions,
Union will
a
join.
simultaneous Eastern invasion is undoubtedly coming from the Soviets in the East, which will then destroy the entire alliance.
And
Luckily,
it'll be just
Pilsudski
basically
also
of
had a
just
plan for
us
this in our
continuing
time.
where we left off.
When the ultranationalists took over in Germany, he quickly started ringing the alarm bells, suggesting a joint invasion of Germany with France. Now obviously, as you know, the French refused and it didn't happen. But from the Polish perspective, it is a really solid plan. Everybody knew that the Germans were remilitarizing, but their armies were still smaller and weaker than the Polish ones. At least for now. The longer that Poland waits, the more danger that they would be in.
Yes.
So
even
Poland,
the alliance.
on their own,
This is to
declares
save the
their
alliance.
intention to uphold the Treaty of Versailles by force, fabricating an incident and marching into Eastern Germany, coming nearer and nearer to Berlin. Now, despite their weaker army, I imagine that Germany will be able to halt the Polish advance here, while Ukraine starts ringing the alarm bells regarding troop movements in Russia. By this point, Britain and France likely intervene and call for a ceasefire and new negotiations. Germany, Poland, France, Italy and Britain meet up to discuss peace. Don't expect big Polish land gains as a result of
Poland
this
just
war.
wanted to
At best, we can
call
see
the
some minor
thing
border
the
corrections in favor of Poland. This war was to uphold Versailles,
Yes.
not some aggressive war of conquest. Poland has now made it
And so
very,
there's still so
very
many
clear.
Germans living
They will
there.
intervene to prevent Germany from upsetting Versailles. In exchange, the Versailles Treaty is somewhat lessened, giving Germany more room for a respectable, but still restricted army. In a crazy scenario, I could even see it possible that the Allies allow for the Anschluss to happen in exchange for Germany agreeing to this new treaty. Following this intervention, the
Interesting.
respect that Poland enjoys in Eastern Europe skyrockets. Czechoslovakia joins the Intermarium if they hadn't
Yay!
already, and maybe Romania and even Yugoslavia too.
Oh,
By
beep,
now,
beep.
the Intermarium is a true beast. Even assuming a minor Intermarium, they have more people than Germany. Assuming a larger Intermarium, they would reach around 120
They would be able to
million
rival the
people.
USSR.
Is their work done? Absolutely not. Germany and the Soviets
But still
still
threats.
desire massive territorial conquest of the alliance. And while growing, their economy is still weaker than Western Europe or Germany. Still, through alliances and military
Barely,
force,
like a
it has
bear.
now carved up their place as the hegemon of Eastern Europe. A coalition of nationalities fighting for their own self-determination with one clear motivation. They will never again accept German or Russian domination over the region. And let's be honest, with the ideological differences between Germany and the Soviets, there is no way that they would ever start to cooperate. Right? Right?
Oh no.
But that's where I'll end this video. Thank you all for watching.
But to be honest, I don't think that they would win. They would struggle, but I think they would struggle a lot until the Allies would start getting involved because Germany is making Versailles mad. So anyways, just one more video for now. And then I will have to continue and then if it comes back.
Isn't this guy's Maginot Line, like, ridiculously thick?
Credit to Danzig.
This time, I am the real Maginot Line. The Magi Yes line.
Ugh, what an annoying guy. Fine, No Poland, no Nordics. My new goal is to break that Maginot Line, no matter what.
Polska wants to break the
Can you
Maginot
even
Line
get out
too.
yourself?
I want to break it too. Now I kinda want to break it as well. Wait, aren't you on my side?
I'll Autobahn straight through Frankreich and burn it.
This time, my defense is unbeatable. I won't
Can
lose
you
that
get out
easily.
yourself?
By the way, if you build walls that high, can you even get out yourself?
Yes, can you?
Of course I can. I can get out. Get out. Huh.
Wait, did you seriously seal yourself inside your own wall? Doesn't that mean we can just take all his African colonies?
You're right. Sounds like party night. Isn't there any timeline where all my hard work actually pays off?
Well, France
lost
has
your
sealed itself
colonies.
in, so I guess I'll go split Poland or something.
Please
But
stop.
Britain will
You
be
said you
mad
wouldn't
and
earlier.
you won't be able to colonize because Britain will block
Hey,
you.
Germany, I won't forgive this. I'm not sharing France's African
Why
colonies.
is
Is
it
it
already
already
assumed
assumed I'm getting split?
Yeah.
Seriously, I was really looking forward to that Africa
Then
loot.
of course it all comes back to me, right? Nope. I'm taking all of it. What? Give it back to me. Let me out of here.
Did Britain
Pathetic.
just take it off?
What's that?
Who are you?
Who?
This is
Martian.
bad. This is really bad. We're told.
I'm the only one surviving thanks to my all-direction Maginot Line. See? I was right all along.
What is this thing? The walls are too solid. I can't invade this country. Whatever. This is fine.
What kind of ending is this? And why is this thing so creepy? Why isn't it a 6-ball?
Yes, what the hell?